Cal, you guys went to Toronto the other day. A lot of things were stacked against you guys. Felt like you maybe went in with a little bit of an underdog mentality. Now that you're up 2-0, what's the challenge? What's the process to try to keep that edge, keep that mentality?
I don't think you change anything. You keep executing, keep the game plan the same, and just go out there, kind of in that reverse mentality of, down 0-2, trying to finish this job, and understand that, things can change pretty quickly. So,
go to Ryan on the left.
Cal, what has made George so effective in the postseason? We've seen him kind of struggle at times during the regular season, but in the postseason, he seems to have another gear. What has made him so effective?
Yeah, I think he's done a real good job of, really mixing really well. And obviously, I think he's kind of, in a way, kind of hitting his stretch just because of the injury this year, and he's finally found that groove. And he's really been good about locating the sinker to both sides of the plate, which has been huge. So away and in, and then obviously mixing in the rest of the stuff has been a big key, I think.
Stay on the left with Tim.
Cal, I'm wondering, I know right now remembering back probably isn't easy, but 3 years ago you guys at the deadline go out and get Luis. What did that acquisition tell that group when you guys were still kind of young and sort of learning how to win at that point, by the front office going and getting him, and what did that do? What did getting him do for that group?
Yeah, I think that doing something like that, it's one of those things where you can say whatever you want, but the actions speak louder than words, and it kind of excites the room when you're going out there, and because it's the message is clear. We're going for it. We got our team significantly better, and you can look at this year as well, going out and getting Gino and Naylor, and doing things like that. It's exciting, and it really brings that clubhouse together, creates a lot of energy and buzz, and that's what you want heading into the last 2 months of the year.
Go in the middle, Tyler.
Cal, with what you've done personally this season, it's sort of taken your own star to a different level. What have you enjoyed about that, maybe, and how has it changed things for you off the field? Nothing really. Still try to do the same thing every day, pretty much. I don't think really nothing's really changed for me, in my eyes, I guess. So I'm just really enjoying, obviously the success of the team and everything that's been going on. I think the last month was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and enjoying that with those guys, and kind of coming together there at the end was a lot of good memories, and trying to keep doing that right now. So. And just one other one about the Mariners and staying here and committing. What about their vision finally sold you on it? Like the wanting to stay here and see this thing out. What made you trust?
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. Obviously sitting down with Jerry, Justin, John, and just talking things through and understanding, I think first things first, we got to go out there and execute, and we got to put our best foot forward, and that's really all we can do every day. And then after that, we've seen, things come together, looking at like what he's just said with Luis and Naylor and Gino this year and things like that, putting us in good positions, and also, just kind of falling in love with this place, and the fans and the city, and really kind of finding a home here. So it's kind of, I'd say, it was kind of the things that kind of brought me to that conclusion.
We'll go in the middle, JP.
Thanks, Cal. 2004 is a long time ago, but I know you're a Red Sox fan growing up and watching the team that year. What are your memories of what that team meant? Because obviously, basically for all their fans, they had never seen that team win the World Series, and of course, you're trying to do something that's never been done in this city. So when you look back, what was it like as a young fan back in 04?
Yeah, it was. It was crazy. Obviously the year before, or I think it was the year before, Wakefield, and giving up the home run to Boone. I remember how devastating that was, and how close, and obviously the next year, then be able to do that, and coming back like that was crazy. So. I was obviously very lucky. I didn't have to go through all the suffering that fans
did for many years. But you see what it does to an organization and a city, and how important that was, and that's just something that was amazing. I mean, I thought it was awesome, and obviously now you're looking back, 20-something years, you're seeing all these documentaries coming out and how important that was, and how it really kind of bolstered, the next couple championships for him come years after that. So it means a lot, and it's just, it kind of gives you that little extra gear, a little extra edge, as far as, we're doing this for something more than just ourselves or just this team. We're doing it for fans and people here to remember, something for a long time.
Do you have a specific recollection of watching particular games during that journey at whether it was at a relative's house, your own house, who you were watching it with, whether it was the Game 4 against the Yankees or Game 7 or when they eventually won?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the one that really sticks out was the Aaron Boone home run. That was really devastating. I remember I was on my living room floor. I was just sitting there watching with my dad. It was obviously late, and that one was kind of crushing. So that one was, unfortunately, that's the one that sticks out of all of them. But I also remember kind of very vividly the Johnny Damon home runs and how much that game was, and it kind of got things going. So I believe at 2, was it 2? That one was it Game 7? Was it 6 or 7? Yeah, one of those. So those are the ones that really stuck out to me. So. That was, and then it was crazy, obviously how big the CS was, and then the World Series they won, was it 4-0 to the Cardinals, so they kind of just steamrolled it.
Go to Ryan in the front.
Cal, you were the Platinum Glove winner last year. The Gold Glove Awards nominees came out today. You weren't on it. Did you think you were worse defensively this year? And then I got a second question as well.
I mean, a lot of that was based off of numbers and analytics. So I think this year with the new strike zone, it kind of changed a lot. You saw it early on, and obviously that big article came out, and they mentioned they shrunk the zone for the umpires, or at least the shadow zone of what can and can't be called, down from 2 to 0.75. So I say that was a big factor early on, but right now I'm not crazy looking into it. We obviously got bigger things ahead of us, so that's something maybe I'll address in the off season, take a look at something maybe I could do better, or kind of dive a little deeper into that.
Also, we mentioned about the Bryce mound visit, and he said he doesn't remember what you said. And then we asked Logan, and Logan said that you come out there oftentimes, put your glove up to your mouth, but just stare at him. Is this true? And what is your philosophy on mound visits?
Everyone's different. I mean, a lot of the time, you go out there and you just want to give the guys a breath. So, you don't want to sound like dad going out there every single time saying the same thing, because then, it starts to get repetitive and you're not getting your point across. So, sometimes you are just going out there, giving them a breath, and you don't want them to be rolling their eyes, hearing the same cliche thing every time. So, a lot of times I'll go out there, give them a breather, and then, like I said, a lot of times you're just trying to take as much time, because everything's clocked now with time, and you're trying to give them the most amount of, I guess, time to recuperate, recover, catch a breath, and then, sometimes it's a very simple message at the end before I leave, or, most of the time they know what to do. They already know what I'm going to say, or what. He's usually coming after a walk, so. Yeah. No, I mean, he's definitely, he's very high effort with his delivery, so a lot of times we do need to just go out there and just give him a breather. So it's all situation dependent, though, is there people on base? Is there nobody on base? Do you have a long at bat before? Is it a hot day out? Is it, obviously we're not dealing with that too much right now, but a lot of those factors come into play. Do we have a lot of mound visits to play with? Sometimes when you use them up early in the game, you got to be a little more smart about it versus, if we're cruising through 5 and you can afford to use one in the 6th and go take it, better safe than sorry.
We'll go to Mike in the front.
Cal, we hear about George, the big game competitor, and what he did, 3 years ago in the ALDS, what he's done now for this year, whether it's preparation or mentality. What sticks out to you as far as the biggest difference for him in big games like these?
Yeah, I think you've seen it a lot with a lot of our guys that on the mound. You know, it seems like when the bright lights come on, they're not shying away from the spotlight. So, you know, you always feel if you can look back to so many games. You can look back to the Astros game a couple of years ago when George started that one. I believe it was King Felix night when we played the Orioles a couple of years ago. He pitched a full 9 innings and we didn't get any runs. So, but you know, he went a full 9 innings and was unbelievable with the packed house that night. So, you know, he doesn't shy away from it. He really, you know, accepts that and takes the challenge on, and he you know, kind of busts through in a way and uses that, you know, adrenaline and focus to make a really good outing usually. So
Go to the second row, Aaron.
Cal, Mitch said the other night that he was going to say something. Has he addressed the team or just done it on an individual basis about the situation he was in 2 years ago, going on the road, winning the first 2 games and having to come home and then losing the next 3 and then having to go back out there and just kind of keeping that same mentality, given that anything can happen in a series like this?
yeah, I mean, we understand, you know, obviously we put ourselves in a good spot, but job's not finished. And I think we've done a good job of that so far this year. All the way starting back to when we did clinch, you know, we weren't satisfied with just making the playoffs. We wanted to finish this thing off and get the division, and then, you know, fast forward to the Tiger series, you know, just trying to keep that focus, and, you know, whether we go down or go up, you know, trying to keep the same level of consistency and focus. And you know, like I said, we want to try to finish this thing out here and you know, take care of business that way. You know, we're not giving them any kind of room to breathe.
Go to Taryn.
Cal, Josh talked a couple weeks ago now about getting the big inning, the kind of the inning that you guys had a lot of during the last month of the season. Game 2, you guys had that. With you guys approaching game by game with looking at just what's in front of you mentality, what's the key for you guys to continue on the momentum of what you had in the previous game while also staying in the moment and not trying to do too much or go out of what the game is presenting you at that given time?
Yeah, I think, you know, kind of what you mentioned with big innings, you know, those are huge in the postseason. You know, putting up crooked numbers can really, you know, be a huge thing especially with, you know, how much shorter pitchers' leashes are and getting to bullpens and getting to see guys extra time. So, you know, crooked numbers are huge. And then as far as like the mentality and kind of the approach, kind of just do the same thing, you know. Obviously, we're gonna be home these next 3 games, and we know it's gonna be loud, and it's just gonna be about keeping the heart rate down and not trying to do too much, kind of like we did in Toronto. So, you know, in postseason, you're always gonna be a little more amped up, and heart rate's gonna be going a little more. So it's more about just slowing the game down, trying to take a deep breath here and there, and understanding that, you know, we're gonna have some tough games and tough moments, and trying to slow things down.
Go to Shannon in the front.
Cal, this hasn't been a normal season for George this year. He started on the IL. It took him a little while to really get into what he does, and he seemed to be battling things a little bit trying to do that. What did you see from him in getting back to where he is doing what he is doing right now?
Yeah, I think he, you know, I think kind of there early on, his command wasn't quite there that we've seen from old George. You know, we talk about a guy that's up there with, you know, these crazy names like Greg Maddux as far as how well he can locate, and early on, you know, he was maybe not quite having that same kind of feel. You know, he was throwing a few more walks out there than we're used to seeing. So, but, you know, now you're kind of seeing he's commanding to both sides of the plate, kind of like we've seen in the past, east, west, north, south, and I think that kind of just grew with confidence and building up a little bit, and, you know, getting that feel back. And it seems like he's kind of, like I said, with him kind of now getting some starts under his belt and going a little deeper into games, and I think you're starting to see that feel back. And like I said, that's the kind of the thing that popped to me was like, all right, you know, that command's there now. We're seeing it to both sides, and you know, lefties and righties as well.
We'll go to Jordan on the left.
Cal, the rotation's been pretty similar for a few years now, but there's been a lot of turnover in the bullpen, you know, besides Brash and Munoz. What stands out about this bullpen right now, and what's it been like watching them kind of gel at the right moment right now?
Yeah, they've been unbelievable. I mean, I can't really say enough about those guys and how well they've done, and not only that, just how much they've been asked to do as far as covering multiple innings, back-to-back days, short rest, et cetera. You can go on and on. And I look at guys like Bizzardo and Vargas the other night. Those are huge innings that they covered, and obviously Brash and Mooney are going to get the bulk of that just because how great they've been, and deservingly so. But like I said, Bizzardo, Gabe Spire, they've been awesome for us all year and really bridged that gap. That's helped a lot, and they've been great. They've been filling it up. They've been mixing. They've been kind of hitting their spots really well, and those are huge, especially this time of year.
Go to Hazel.
Cal, in speaking to Ty France, he told me that he noticed a shift in your mentality when you returned to the team from getting optioned in 2022. He said that he thought you had a lot more confidence in yourself and belief that you belonged in the major leagues. How accurate is that? And do you think that point of your career has factored into your success today?
Yeah, I think a lot of I think looking back, you never want to be optioned, and you never want to fail like that. But I think that was honestly the best thing for me at the time, and I learned a lot from that. And it was a lot shorter than it originally was supposed to be, with Tom Murphy getting hurt 7 games into that. But coming back, I learned a lot just about not physically, not about the swing or whatever, but it was a lot mentally, and kind of like that confidence he was talking about, and understanding kind of the ins and outs of it, and what I had to do, to learn how to stick here and to survive, and to end up ultimately trying to thrive in this game. And it's I learned a lot of lessons, and it wasn't just that. It took a couple more weeks as well, but like I said, I look back and I kind of, am thankful for what happened there. So
Go to Tyler in the middle.
Cal, with so many catchers, the position is a big part of their identity. Like, they just love it. What do you love about the position you play?
I mean, I grew up around the game. My dad was a catcher. He was a coach, and I was kind of, always intrigued by the position, and it was always, in my bag. I was always catching, not all the time. I was doing it as I was growing up, here and there, and then ultimately, kind of found my niche, and that was what I wanted to do. And when I got to college, started doing it full time. So I just love the ins and outs of it. I've said it before, the kind of mental side of it, calling a game, working with pitchers, reading hitters, understanding situations, kind of trying to lead the team out there in a way. And obviously they're all looking at you and leading staff. So I think, once I started doing that more, as I grew up through high school and stuff, and you got those opportunities to do stuff like that, it was kind of where I kind of fell in love with it.
Go 2 more real quick. One, David in the back corner.
Hey, Cal, JP mentioned the 04 Red Sox. That team certainly was aware of the history they were trying to overcome and kind of embraced it. How does the clubhouse kind of take on what you guys are trying to do, and how aware is the team of the history of the franchise?
Yeah, we understand, and we live in a world today where everything, is emphasized with, media, social media, and you can't really go anywhere around here without hearing that. So I think it's one of those things where you embrace it, right? You don't shy away from it. I think in a way you're grateful for, where you're at, and very happy, but at the same time you're still hungry, because you're like, all right, we can do something that's never been done before here. This is, more than just about me. It's about the guys in that room. It's about getting this, chance, this opportunity, and looking at it like that, not like a burden, like it's something that we have to do. It's something that is fun, something that is, bringing joy to the guys in the clubhouse, and as well as, the fans in the city. So, and you're feeling it. You feel it, when you're on the field. You feel it when you walk out there, and it's 20, 30 minutes before a game, and you can't see an empty seat. So it's you can just, like I said, it's something you can sense and understand, how much it means to the city and the fans, and it's a lot of fun.
Wrap up with JP in the middle.
Cal, you're one of 37 people born in North Carolina to play in the big leagues this year, which is a pretty significant number on a per capita basis, certainly. For those who might not be as familiar with it, how do you describe the baseball culture in North Carolina and maybe the mentors that you had growing up in your home state?
Yeah, I didn't know it was 37. That's pretty cool. I think the South in general, obviously, it's a little warmer down there, so you're getting more kids that play, and you can play more year round. Obviously, it's no Florida or California, Texas maybe, but the baseball there is pretty good. There's a lot of colleges there. I think that helps a lot. I think that's the thing in the South is there's maybe not as many pro sports teams, but there's a lot of colleges, and people they look at people and teams and players that are on those teams, and they grow up idolizing them. So to me, that's what I was. I loved college baseball. I was watching college baseball, so like I said, it's very competitive down there. And, I remember watching, Dustin Ackley, Kyle Seager, when I was the bat boy and my dad was playing their teams, guys at Clemson, Tyler Colvin, those are kind of some older names, but those are the guys that you kind of grow up watching how good they were in college. And then obviously when I got here, Kyle Seager made that connection, and was kind of really crazy that came together. So, it's, like I said, it's very competitive down there, and very, a lot of fun growing up there playing baseball.
All right, Cal, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks for coming in, Luis. We'll get started. We'll start with Daniel on the left.
Luis, what was that experience like coming out of the bullpen in Game 5?
Luis, ¿cómo fue esa experiencia salir del bullpen en ese juego 5?
Bueno, una experiencia que en la Grandes Ligas nunca la había tenido. Fue maravilloso venir aquí, especialmente en la casa de nosotros, y venir a relevar un juego donde tuvimos la victoria. Fue súper emocionante.
Yeah, it was an experience that I've never lived in my major league career. It was a great experience, that Game 5. It was something that something special that I didn't think would happen, especially here at home. It was definitely special to be a part of that.
Go to Jordan on the left.
Did coming out of the bullpen make you appreciate kind of what those guys do on a regular basis? And what is your relationship with some of those guys in the bullpen that you can talk about?
Salir del bullpen te hizo apreciar un poco más lo que hacen los relevistas de nosotros, y qué es tu relación con muchos de los muchachos ahí en el bullpen.
Bueno, no tanto en el bullpen, sino en el clubhouse tenemos una buena relación. Un poquito de miedo cuando sube el fuego, cuando salimos al terreno, pero para mí fue bastante bonito. Mientras estuve en el bullpen, hablaba con los relevistas de cómo qué ellos hacen aquí durante el juego, especialmente cuando hay frío, y cómo se preparan para entrar a actuar a la lomita.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the relationship just the bullpen, but I think the entire clubhouse. It's pretty close. I think I got a little scared when the fire came out, when I was going into the field. But it was a beautiful experience. I mean, I was out there talking with all the relievers, just trying to pick their brains a little bit, like what do they do? What do they do when it's cold outside? So it was just a lot of chit-chatting over there.
Go in the front row, David.
I'll ask this in Spanish and English as well. In English, about the past month and a half or so, you've been pitching some of your best baseball of the year. What's been working for you in that time? Durante el último mes y medio, más o menos, vienes lanzando algo de tu mejor béisbol en la temporada. ¿Qué ha funcionado para ti en ese tiempo?
Bueno, siempre yo lo he dicho, en la temporada tenemos altas y bajas, que siempre tenemos que tener la cabeza en alto, positivo, para cuando lleguen los momentos buenos. Pero para mí fue el momento muy necesario porque yo sé que el equipo me necesitaba, y fue en la mejor parte de que las cosas buenas comenzaran a funcionar, y por eso estamos aquí en estas alturas ahora.
Yeah, I've always said it, long season in baseball. There's highs and lows. You always have to go out there, keep your head up, and just wait for those good moments to come. To me, it came at a right time, just because I knew it was an important part. needed to happen. And for me, it was just kind of a start, of something good to come.
We'll go to Taryn in the front.
Luis, you were the starter for the team's first win this postseason. You were the last pitcher on the mound for Game 5 of the ALDS, and depending on the result of today's game, you can either clinch the first berth to the World Series in team history or set you guys up to be one win away. Just what does it mean at this point in your career to play such a significant role in what has been, the most promising postseason performance in team history?
Luis, tú fuiste el abridor en la primera victoria del equipo esta postemporada. También lanzaste en ese juego 5 para avanzar a la siguiente ronda. Dependiendo de lo que suceda hoy, puedes hacer el abridor que lleva al equipo a la Serie Mundial o ganar otro juego y tenerlo un paso más cerca. ¿Qué significa para ti en este punto en tu carrera seguir teniendo esa confianza del equipo?
Bueno, significa algo muy importante porque necesitamos la confianza, necesitamos no el 100%, sino el 110% ya en estas alturas donde estamos, que eso es lo más importante, venir a trabajar duro todo el tiempo, poco más de lo que sabemos trabajar. Pero para mí la preparación, la misma mentalidad, la misma rutina, y salir a competir, que es lo más que tenemos que hacer, batallar para que las cosas nos salgan bien, y lo más importante, que siempre lo he dicho, la mentalidad positiva.
Yeah, I think it means a lot. Confidence is huge. We got to come out here and not just give 100%, but give 110%. We're at that stage where, we have to come in and work and give a little bit more of ourselves than we have to do. But for me, same mentality. Just trying to come out here, try to compete, do my same routine, stay the same, go out there and battle against some of these batters. And, I think the most important thing for me, as I've always said it, keep that positive mentality.
Stay in the front with Shannon.
Kind of along those lines, but for the team, you've had some people, doubt that you could do what you did in Toronto because maybe you were too tired or had to take it to 5 games. You have the pressure of this team has never gone to a World Series before. How have you seen this team deal with those that might doubt or the pressures that come with the situation and the position that you're in right now?
Mucho también en parte del equipo, ¿no? Había muchas cuestiones obviamente ese juego de 15 entradas, venir a Toronto y hacer lo que hicieron porque a lo mejor estaban cansados. ¿Qué tú cómo lees esos que a veces cuestionan un poco el equipo o cosas así, ¿no?
Bueno, para mí es un paso positivo. A pesar de que tuvimos una noche larga, un juego largo, cogimos un avión de 4 horas y pico, creo que 5, y ir a competir como competimos allá a Toronto, para mí es algo bien positivo, porque ahí me da la mentalidad de que sí nosotros podemos ganar este juego. Y solamente seguir batallando así como lo estamos haciendo, porque estamos en un buen punto. Y bueno, lo que siempre he dicho, batallar.
Yeah, I always take it as a positive. We won that long game, got on a flight, 4 hours or a little bit more than 4 hours, and going into Toronto, and I take it as a positive. If we can compete the way we competed in that last game, we can go in and compete here and just battle. So, like I always say, we just got to go out there and just battle.
Stay in front, Curtis.
Luis, for 7 months, being a starter is so much about routine, and that's kind of thrown in a blender this time of year. How do you try to work through that and change things, adapt to when you're asked to pitch in the 14th inning of a Game 5 and still be ready for a start like this a few days later?
Luis, obviamente pasas varios meses, ¿no? Como un abridor, con una rutina, y viene la postemporada y pues toda esa rutina se puede volver un poco loca. ¿Cómo te tienes tú, no, en adaptar, en a lo mejor a tener que abrir sin tantos días de descanso o a lo mejor pedirte salir de relevo en la contraentrada?
Bueno, para mí no cambia nada, es la misma rutina. Creo que es una rutina bastante importante que hasta para relevistas funciona. Seguir la misma rutina, no tratar de cambiar nada, lo mismo, porque sé que es una rutina que me lleva a estar saludable y a hacer el buen trabajo, porque ya tengo bastante tiempo con esa misma rutina y no pienso nunca cambiarla.
Yeah, I think for me it's just stay in the same routine. I mean, I even think that, relievers have a routine and even, they don't know when they're going to pitch. But for me, I think that routine is very important. I'm not going to change it. I mean, this routine that I've done has been helped me stay healthy, which I've been doing for, the majority of my career. So not changing.
Go to David in back left.
Hi, Luis. Back in 2016, you were traded with Josh Naylor from the Marlins to the Padres. Did you know him much in the minors, and did you ever envision him stealing 30 bases in a season?
Luis, en el 2016 tú fuiste parte de un cambio con Josh Naylor para los Marlins. ¿Lo conociste tú mucho en las ligas menores y alguna vez sabías tú que iba a robar 30 bases con el equipo?
Mientras estuvimos en los Marlins no lo conocí mucho. Lo conocí, ya el nombre me comenzó a sonar después que fuimos cambiados a San Diego. Pero solamente hay que estar decidido y confiar en cada uno, en uno mismo, porque hacer así, tomar 30 bases, no es algo fácil, es algo difícil. Y le doy el mérito a él que él lo hizo, a pesar de que viene batallando de muchas cosas. Pero me alegro por él que lo hizo. Bueno, y espero que en la Serie Mundial también siga tomando esa base.
Yeah, I didn't really know him much when we were in the minor league system with the Marlins. The name started becoming a little bit more familiar, after the trade happens. But, you just had to have confidence in yourself. I mean, he came out here and just been stealing bags, and I give him all the merit. I mean, he's put in a lot of work, even though he's been battling a lot. And I just hope that, when we reach the World Series, he's able to steal a couple more.
Go to JP in the middle.
Gracias, Luis. Thank you very much. I wonder, growing up in the Dominican, which postseasons did you watch closely? Who are your favorite teams or players that you always like to follow at this time of year?
Luis, naciendo en la República, ¿qué postemporada tú tienes un recuerdo más? ¿Y qué jugadores o equipos te gustaba a ti ver más, especialmente en el tiempo del año?
Bueno, como siempre, el ídolo ha sido Pedro Martí. Siempre lo veía, también cuando él pichaba en lo que es la Serie Mundial, en los postseason también. Mi papá siempre ha sido fanático de Boston. Y cuando Pedro Martínez, él me decía, bueno, hay un toque de queda que tenemos que ver a Pedro el Grande. Pero ya que yo pertenezco a un equipo profesional, él puso lo que es el equipo de Boston en segundo lugar y el equipo que estoy en primer lugar.
Yeah, I always said it. My idol has always been growing up Pedro Martinez. We would always watch it. My dad, growing up, my dad was a big Boston Red Sox fan. And I remember he would always tell me, hurry up, we got to go watch Pedro, the great pitch. But when I entered the major leagues, he kind of put Boston in second place. And first place always became whatever team I'm playing with.
Go to Tyler in the middle.
Luis, when you came here in 22, Cal Raleigh was a young catcher. What was he like then as a young guy working with a veteran, and how has he evolved as a catcher?
Luis, cuando tú llegaste en el 2022, Cal era un catcher muy joven. Ya trabajando con él, obviamente tú eres el veterano trabajando con un catcher joven. Ya, ¿cómo ha evolucionado ahora de catcher? ¿Cómo lo tienes ahora?
Bueno, ha evolucionado bastante. Ha aprendido mucho. Y lo importante es de un catcher y un pitcher estar siempre en la misma página, en el acuerdo de las llamadas de los picheos. Yo creo que es algo muy importante que tiene que ver el pitcher y el catcher de siempre tener la misma conversación, siempre estar de acuerdo en cualquier seña, cualquier llamado de picheo.
He's evolved a lot. He has throughout this whole years, and I think the important thing between a catcher and a pitcher is to always be in the same page. So I think the most important thing for us is always have that same conversation, always be, always agree on what pitches to throw, what the conversations we have. So he's evolved a lot.
Go to Kate, second row.
About Cal's mound visits. Bryce said sometimes he comes out and he tries to tell a joke, a bad one. Logan said sometimes he just stares at him. What does he do when he comes out to visit you, and what have you noticed about how he times his mountain visits?
Cuando él viene a visita ahí en la lomita, Bryce dice que a veces él va y le cuenta un chiste que no es tan gracioso. Logan a veces dice que nomás va y se le queda mirando. ¿Qué te dice a ti cuando te visita? Y tú, ¿qué tan importante es, no, cuando él toma ese tiempo o cuando él sabe ir a visitarte?
Bueno, lo más que él me dice es como, yo siempre le digo como que, ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué tenemos? Y él siempre me dice, bueno, vine para que coja un poquito más de aire. Y ahí comenzamos a planear cuál es el siguiente picheo que le vamos a tirar al bateador que está en el home play o en el círculo de espera. Siempre tenemos esa conversación, pero lo más que él me dice es que, bueno, yo vine para que coja un poquito más de aire.
Yeah, usually it starts off with me asking, what's up, like what's happening, and normally he just tells me, just came up here to give you a little breath, and then we have a conversation there of what's the next pitch to throw. But yeah, normally when he goes up there, he's just telling me that he just wants me to give me a little little breather.
We'll go on the right over here to Andrew.
Luis, I'm curious, with this rotation, obviously it's carried you guys for a number of seasons, but in some ways, do you think that injuries early in the year to Bryce, to Logan, to George, do you think that's helped them be more fresh at this time of year and maybe even has the rotation in as good of a spot as you could ask for October?
Luis, obviamente este equipo ha sido la fortaleza de este equipo y los ha ayudado mucho, los ha cargado mucho en los últimos años. Pero ¿tú crees que las lesiones tempranas a Logan, a Bryce, a George, les ayudó un poco, no, estar un poco más frescos a este tiempo del año? ¿Crees que les ayudó un poco?
Bueno, por una parte es malo, pero por una parte es bien. Acuérdate que también ellos quieren empezar la temporada para ellos hacer sus números. Y bueno, la parte buena es que para estos tiempos ellos están no fresco, pero tan bien en buena posición, de que se sienten saludables y con fuerza, que eso nos ayuda un poquito más a seguir batallando ya en estos pocos juegos que nos quedan.
Yeah, I think there's a bad side and a good side. I mean, obviously, these guys want to start the season healthy, put up numbers, and help the team in any way possible. But I do think, that them starting a little later did kind of, at this point of the season, mostly everybody's banged up, tired. So yeah, I think they were, I wouldn't say they were like freshed up, but they have started a little earlier. But yeah, you can look at it both ways.
We'll go one more with Nico in the middle.
Luis, in the middle of the 15th inning in Game 5 on Friday, like the highest stakes moment of the season so far, guys in the dugout are watching and cheering on the salmon race in the outfield. And I know that sounds silly, but it's like, what is it about this team that you can stay loose, have fun in a moment like that was so important? And how much did you guys enjoy that, sir?
Luis, obviamente en medio de esa 15 entrada, obviamente están viendo... está sucediendo mucho, ¿no? Está mucha intensidad, no se sabe qué va a suceder, pero está saliendo la carrera de los salmones y se ven que varios jugadores la están viendo y disfrutándose. ¿Qué te dice, no, de este equipo que, aunque esté en ese momento intenso, de que todavía pueden salir y divertirse?
Bueno, es una parte de que también nosotros tenemos que disfrutarnos el momento, a pesar que fue un juego de 15 innings. También vienen las emociones sobre las cosas que hacen en el terreno. Es una cosa también que yo siempre he dicho, hay que disfrutarse el momento, cada segundo que podamos en esta vida, porque es una sola. Y bueno, cuando yo vengo, saco el último, el pichico me dice, bueno, es tu juego, ya te vamos a necesitar a ti, los innings que todos los innings que falten. Y me preparé, puse la mentalidad de que la misma mentalidad que yo me pongo cuando tengo que abrir un juego, y así mismo sucedió. No tuve que tirar mucho, sino un inning y un tercio, y pudimos tener la victoria y celebrar esa misma noche.
Yeah, I think it just means that, we just got to enjoy the moment. I know it's an intense moment, and, there's a lot of going on in the field, but, it's the end of the game, you have to enjoy it. I mean, that's life, you only get one. I remember I went out there, pitched, and came back in, and the pitching coach told me, this is your game. Doesn't matter how long it's going to go, it's up to you. And I remember I just went prepared as if, I was making a start with that mentality. And luckily, I was only able to pitch about an inning and a third, and we were able to come out with the victory.
Luis, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Freddie,
Gracias,
thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks for coming in, Dan. Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll open it up for Dan. We'll start with Taryn in the front.
Dan, I know you've talked a lot about just staying the course, looking at what's in front of you. A lot of talk about the past ALCS teams you're a part of. This team is closer than any of those teams were up 2-0. Just whether kind of the emotions and just continuing the thought process of looking at what's in front of you, but also recognizing that you guys are closer than you've ever been.
Yeah, to me, it's just I feel excited to get back out there tonight. I think, we were excited about playing in this ballpark tonight and feeling the energy again from the fans who've been incredibly supportive, who've just been fantastic. And I mean, that's really what we're looking at. I think we're just focused on what's going to happen tonight and doing the things that we've been doing and not looking beyond that. And that's the way our preparation has been all season long. And that's what it's going to continue to be. And but we are excited to get back out there and be out here in front of the home fans and in our own ballpark.
Go to Ryan in the front.
Dan, why do you think Cal didn't get nominated for the Gold Glove this year?
It's a mystery, but I think we have seen nothing but Gold Glove performance from him all season long. I think, and when you look at some of the stuff that he has to deal with, in terms of our pitching staff, a lot of split fingers, particularly Logan, and then the amount of blocking he does. His throwing has been great. There are some tough things that happen along the way, and you love for all your guys to be nominated for those kinds of things. But I think the season, the year that Cal has had has just been outstanding, and it's always tough.
Just to follow up, he sat there and mentioned that he was going to, after the season's over with, he's going to go back over all the analytics and all the framing data and see if there's ways he can improve. I mean, he won the Platinum Glove last year. Is that a very typical Cal mindset?
No doubt. Cal wants to be the best. He wants to be the best on both sides of the ball, and I think that's just who he is. I think that's a really good glimpse into the type of player he is and the way he thinks. Again, it shows humility that he knows he thinks he's got things to learn and ways to improve, and he's going to find a way. I think he's just that kind of guy. And again, it's not about winning an award. It's about helping a team win, and that's where it all stems from. And that's his desire to win, and that's why you love to have Cal behind the plate for you.
We'll stand in front with Mike.
Dan, Cal was talking a lot about heaping praise on George Kirby, Luis, and others that when the lights get brighter in the postseason, they know how to perform, just paraphrasing that. In what ways has Cal made the biggest difference with them as far as preparation for games like these?
Yeah, I mean, I think with all our guys, particularly here in the playoffs, they've really gone out there with a great game plan. And I think, the game plans are game plans. You go out there with it. But you have to make adjustments as you go too, and I think the way Cal and all our pitching staff have been able to kind of read what's going on and make those adjustments, I think has been outstanding. And yes, there's no doubt he's absolutely right that these guys have stepped up, and that's what happens in the playoffs, and that's what guys do. But also, I think a lot of the credit goes to Cal too. That they've made their adjustments, and they've he's kind of felt the moment a little bit, read things. I think he's made great mound visits at times, like all those things that go into helping a pitcher along in an outing. Cal's been able to execute very, very well.
We'll stand in front with Jessamine.
You have been close to this team throughout, obviously, your career, but you stayed close to this team. You stayed local. You stayed close to the city. When you look at, in a bigger scale, what the energy and excitement is doing around here, what does it mean to you?
I mean, it's exciting. It's just to see, the amount of Mariner hats, the amount of Mariner gear you see around town now. That kind of thing is always great, and that's what makes you feel good about what's happening. But it's, we want it to continue. And so tonight, that's where our focus turns to, and turns pretty quickly. But, to see the city come alive, to see what T-Mobile is going to be like, tonight and what it's been in the Detroit series, it's really exciting. And that's what's, again, that's the essence of October baseball.
We'll go on the left, Jordan.
Hey Dan, what do you remember thinking when you guys found out you were trading for Josh Naylor, and what have you learned about him as a player, particularly as a hitter? I know we've talked about the stolen bases maybe being surprising, but what stands out to you about him as a hitter?
Yeah, I mean, I remember, he had when we played Arizona, he had hit a big grand slam against us, and beat us in a I think it was maybe an extra inning ball game or late in a ball game, and just kind of watching him play in that series, I hadn't had a chance to see him up close much, but just understanding the type of at-bats he was putting forward and how difficult he was in the middle of that lineup. Hearing about us getting him was, we had obviously it wasn't the day we found out. We'd been talking about it and hoping. And when it happened, you knew your lineup was going to get a lot deeper. And that was, a week or so before Gino came, which made it even deeper. But what I've seen from Nails, and I've talked about it quite a bit, is just one of the smartest players I've been around, and just how he sees the game, how he, plays the game. He plays with a lot of intensity. It's just, you got to love having that on your team, and how quickly, he's been sort of absorbed into the fold here, and how quickly he's become a leader into the fold as well. It's all been a great match, and he has been so instrumental in this stretch run.
Go to John Paul in the middle.
Thanks, Dan. When you were growing up in the Chicago area, certainly on both sides of town, there were generational quests and droughts to end on each side, which, of course, they've done since. How does growing up with that knowledge, maybe stories you heard from your parents and grandparents, inform the context you have on your franchise trying to do something for the first time?
Yeah, the Cubs, certainly you learned that, at a young age, that, going through that. But, I don't know if there's anything that can properly prepare you for what's here. I think this has just been, such a great stretch, and we, again, just kind of have to get back to what got us here in the preparation and the work that goes into it, and hard to look much beyond that or gain much of a perspective beyond that. But it is an exciting time, I think, for this city, for this region, and we want to keep it exciting and make it even more exciting going forward.
And there are a lot of well-known Mariner fans and people from this city. Have there been a few people that have reached out to you that have made the biggest notice for you? Maybe a famous person saying congratulations or good luck that's kind of stood out to you?
I think just getting texts from former teammates. Lou Piniella was here to throw out the first pitch last series, and getting a chance to see Lou here and Jay Buhner, who's been around the team this year, like sharing it with some of the guys who were here the last time, obviously makes you feel good, and Ichiro's around, who was here. Just sharing that collective memory and seeing it again through a different lens is pretty exciting.
Go to Andrew on the right.
You kind of touched on it there, Dan, but having Ichiro around, having guys like Edgar around, what has that meant to you as somebody who kind of, blends those two gaps? What's it meant to you to have those guys be so integral to this run?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Edgar and I talk about it a lot and just kind of, look at each other and we kind of remember, and seeing T-Mobile again like it was, in 2001, it just makes you feel great. So it's those things are always fun. I remember making the All-Star team in '96 and having 4 teammates to go with me. That's what makes it special. And having, other guys around who were experiencing it the last time really makes it special again. And Gar's certainly one of them. And Ichi, Jay's been around, and just having them around and talking about it and seeing it again has been, pretty exciting.
Go in the back, David.
Dan, just as a follow-up on Josh, he had started to run a little bit with Arizona. When you guys acquired him, is that something the coaching staff picked up? Like, you can do this more, or has he done this on his own because he's gone nuts on the stealing bases?
Yeah, I think, we tend to be aggressive here and allow guys to be aggressive and make good decisions. And, Nails, again, I think where you really see the smarts that he has is on the bases. He finds those seams, and when he finds a seam, he's going to take it. And he is right a lot more times than he's wrong. And so, again, once you see it and you can trust it, and to know that he knows what he's doing, and he knows when to take it, and he's just been tremendous at it, and so he continues.
So does he have the green light?
He does from time to time. I mean, everybody has a green light from time to time, but sometimes you put the red light on. But he's, again, certainly a guy that is a smart player, and you can really trust what he does out there. And
go to Shannon in the front.
Dan, how does this clubhouse compare to the clubhouses that you were in before games, after games, dealing with the pressure that can perhaps come with trying to do what they are trying to do right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that sort of unifies clubhouses at this time of year is just that there is a lot of outside stuff going on, and so they tend to lean on each other. And I think this is a group that has begun to really lean on each other. As I've talked about a lot of times, just the love that they have for one another has really, it helps you with a lot of that. And I think that's the commonality. If I had to point to one, is just the rapport, the camaraderie that you have. You're all in the same boat, and that just brings you together. And these guys have handled it so well, and continue to lean on each other through it.
Go on the left to Jordan.
Dan, from your vantage point, what have you seen from the collaboration between Edgar and Kevin Seitzer and Bobby Magianis, and just that hitting group and how the players have responded to them? Yeah,
obviously Edgar last year was the first call I made after I was, I had the opportunity to take the job, and I don't know of a guy who's handles offense better than Edgar, and so getting him on, and then as we went through interview processes last year in the offseason, I think the way Seitz is thinking in terms of hitting, they really aligned with Edgar's quite a bit, and then Bobby Magianis, who had worked with Seitz, just really impressed with him and what he brought in terms of mechanics and mechanical thinking. So it just feels like it's a really complete group that we have. And again, when you look at Edgar, what he was able to achieve on the field, he was a great hitter in and of himself, a Hall of Fame hitter. But he also has the ability to explain it, and not just the physicalness, but also the mental, the approach. It's all inclusive. And again, I can't think of a guy better suited for that than Edgar, and he's done an incredible job with all of our hitters, and the way those three have worked together has been just very synergetic.
Go in the front to Taryn.
Dan, last series we talked about just the amount of times you face certain pitchers. This series faced Trey Savage for the first time. I think you're facing Shane Bieber for the first time this year as well. Just what was kind of the difference between last series and having a game plan established for guys you've already seen compared to this series where, scouting ahead and facing guys for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a little bit different. I think you don't really have as much of an idea until you get in the box and you physically see it yourself. But again, we go back to Gar and Seitz and Bobby and the work that they do to prepare our hitters, which is tremendous. And video is a big part of it, so you get a chance to at least conceptualize it a little bit inside your head before you get a chance to see it. And then all the information, all the analytics that we have, our analytics teams does such a great job too of putting together the pregame stuff, and it does a great job to prepare our guys, and so they're ready to go when they take the field. And then again, just like you go out on the field with a game plan as a pitcher and catcher as a battery, you do the same thing as a hitter, and then you have to make your adjustments as you go based on what your eyes are seeing and what you're experiencing. So our guys, I think, have done a great job of that so far, especially against the guys they haven't seen much.
Go on the left to Ryan.
Dan, you've talked about the up the middle approach. Stay up the middle. Ask Polo, why does it allow him to hit more homers and hit the ball harder than he ever has in his career? Can you explain why staying up the middle allows for players to still hit homers and not? Because I think a lot of people think it's just a single up the middle, but like staying up the middle allows them to hit homers and drive the baseball as well.
Yeah, I think that as hitters, when you think middle of the field, you're putting yourself in the best position to hit, because you're going to be on time for the fastball, and you may be out in front of the breaking ball a little bit, but you're still going to be able to keep it fair. And I think that's the difference, is that when you're on time for the fastball, you may hit that ball to left center for a homer, you may hit it to right center for a homer, and a breaking ball you're going to be able to pull, but you're going to stay on it long enough to where you can still pull it out of the ballpark and put a good swing on it. So it's just a great approach, I think, because it gets you on time for more stuff and for more pitches. And I think we've seen that play out so many times, and that's what Garb preaches. And I think it's been very effective for our guys.
Is it a throwback in the elevate, celebrate era to have that?
I mean, I guess. I mean, in some ways, I think, hitters have made their adjustments to pitching, and that's just happened, throughout the course of baseball time. Is hitters make adjustments to pitchers, and vice versa. So I think this is a time where it certainly has worked. It's worked on our club, and I think that's. Again, where you, as a hitter, are in your best position to make more consistent and solid contact.
Anything else for Dan? Dan, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.